everybody, welcome back to my channel, Eclectic Reads. Today I want to talk about my experience doing readathons as well as any kind of buddy read or book challenge, and why generally they have not worked for me. However, there is one that will be running this summer that I actually think that I will be successful in doing. For many years, the only readathon that I participated in was Booktubeathon. This was a challenge that was hosted by Ariel Bassett, and then Raylene worked with her as well. And it was called Booktubeathon, then eventually it became Reading Rush. And it ultimately fell apart for reasons I'm not going to go into. But I always loved Booktubeathon because the challenges were very broad. Yes, every year there was at least one challenge that didn't work with everybody and was maybe more controversial. One that comes to mind was the challenge of reading entirely outdoors. When I was living in the Midwest, that was perfectly fine, but now that I live in southern Arizona, I would not have been able to do that challenge. I would probably have just gone to the library and read the book in the library the whole time because they were always open to fudging the challenges or adapting them as you see fit. In any case, this was the challenge that I loved because it was a whole week. You had to read 7 books, there were certain prompts, and I would film a video every single day. But the challenges were broad enough that I could adapt them to my own reading interests. This is also the reason why I think that other readathons have not worked for me, because usually they're focused on a specific genre, whether it's historical fiction or cozy mysteries or just mysteries in general. Somehow in my head, when I'm told that I'm supposed to focus on a particular genre in a month, I just don't do it. It's almost like the fact that I'm asked to do it makes me less likely to be successful. I also think the fact that Booktubeathon was a challenge that booktubers of all the different niches would actually participate in made it me feel like I was part of a larger community. And we don't have so many of those anymore. If readathons have been challenging, buddy reads have been maybe even more challenging because now I have to read one specific book. And somehow that is the book that I don't read. So I've just accepted that I'm usually not very good at following through with reading challenges. But there is one this summer, like I said, that I'm excited to do. And that is the Summer Book Bingo Challenge hosted by Tiffany at Beautiful Minutia. When I saw this challenge, I immediately decided that this is what I wanted to do this summer for a few reasons. First, I was looking for a readathon to participate in, but not one that made me feel like I was doing homework. And in this one, there are so many ways of fulfilling this challenge. You have a bingo board. And so with a bingo board, I can go vertically, horizontally, diagonally. I could fill up the whole board. It doesn't really matter as long as, I follow the rules of bingo. And the categories are pretty open-ended. Place you'd like to visit, classic, book in a series, ocean, library book, yellow on the cover. Yes, some of them are more challenging, like books set in summer. I'm finding that to be probably the most challenging challenge. And then there's ones that are genre specific, like sci-fi or fantasy, nonfiction. There's one that says one word title. That one does have to be one word. It can't include an article like a, an, or the. So I'm thinking of maybe reading Pompeii by Robert Harris. There's one that says over 500 pages. That's going to be challenging just because it's, over 500 pages. But I also don't have to read that. I could choose a different set of books. So this one just appeals to me because of how broad the categories are, but also because it reminds me of the book challenges I used to participate in as a child. Every summer, my parents would enroll me in the summer reading challenge at my local library. And my local library here doesn't have anything for adults, but it does have a reading challenge for kids. And this book bingo really reminds me of that. So that is making me think that I will be more successful than I have for my other reading challenges that I've attempted but never really been successful with. I am nominally participating in Big Book Summer. I have technically already read a book that is over 400 pages, but I'm hoping to read another book that is over 400 pages this summer. But we'll see. Already, that is feeling like homework again. But I just want to be clear here. I am not criticizing these challenges. I'm not saying they're bad challenges. I think that there is a challenge on BookTube for everybody. But I also wanted to explain my own experience and why generally they haven't worked for me, but also why I'm hopeful that this challenge will work for me. So far, since June 1st, I have read two books that can fit into two categories. One is Brain Candy, and that is Shady Hollow by Juno Black, and Library Book, and I've chosen Murder at Pirates Cove by Josh Lanyon. I read almost exclusively library books nowadays. Very occasionally, I read the books that I actually own. I should do that more often. Brain Candy, I thought Shady Hollow was perfect because this is a cozy mystery series centering woodland creatures. It definitely is Brain Candy, and I absolutely love listening to it on audio. I'll do more of a complete review at the end of the month. This challenge runs from June 1st through August 31st. So I wanted to make sure that I included a few books that I've already read since June 1st, but I do have a few books that I still need to read. If I read 3 more books, I will get a bingo. I need to reread a favorite. So I'm thinking of rereading Murder at the Cathedral by T.S. Eliot, which is a play about Thomas Becket, where he's faced with a number of tempters. And I just remember loving this play, which is in verse. Outside Your Comfort Zone. Funny Story by Emily Henry. Romance is definitely outside of my comfort zone. I've probably read only a handful of romances in the last decade. So I want to try something. I want to try something that I don't usually read. I've heard that Funny Story is pretty good as a first book by Emily Henry. Also, I think this book is set in summer, so maybe I will choose this for the summer challenge because the last book is set in summer. Let me know if this one's set in summer. If it is, I will find a different book for outside your comfort zone. You can't double up, so you can only do one book for one challenge. But that's totally fine. That's kind of what I expected. So I'm excited to participate in this challenge. Let me know if you are as well, and let me know your own experience doing challenges and buddy reads, because I want to do more of them, to be honest. I know that this is a huge way of being part of the BookTube community, and I'm hoping that being successful in this challenge will also motivate me to continue. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you like my content, consider subscribing. Also, shameless plug, I do have a cozy mystery blog that I've been running for almost 2 years. I have almost 70 reviews on there. I'm not very good at SEO, so that's probably the reason why I get very, very few views. But if you are interested in cozy books, cozy mysteries exclusively, maybe consider checking out the blog, and you can subscribe either by email or by Facebook. I have a Facebook page set up for it. This channel, of course, is about any of the books that I'm reading, but I wanted to have a space where I review and talk exclusively about cozy mysteries. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.